Hello, everyone. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Heidi.
Hi. So we wanted to talk to you guys today about a subject that Robin has recently done a podcast through her new site, athenauniverse.com. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you check that out. There's a lot of good stuff on there, free and paid subscriptions. But she did a podcast on that, and we thought it would be a good subject to discuss a little deeper here on YouTube today. So let's just start by, you say choose love instead of rightness. This can be difficult, especially for anyone who's been in a relationship, say, where they feel like they're at odds a lot, and their own happiness potentially is like their own feeling like they're choosing to be loving to themselves versus not just only being loving to someone else. So what would you say to those people that feel this is a tough pill to swallow?
Yeah. Well, to give someone a little bit of a background about what we're talking about, Heidi, is in that podcast, what we're really recommending is that people move to create harmony in their life and in the lives of others. And in doing that, you're going to really serve yourself in your connection to the divinity part of yourself. And you're actually going to start to receive flow coming into your life in all areas with no efforting, you see. A lot of times the conclusion that a human draws that someone else is wrong and they are right, and they start to view them in a distasteful way or a negative way, they don't realize that the emanation that they are releasing from themselves is actually being returned unto them through the divinity connection to their source that they have, you see. And so it's about intelligence, really. It's about understanding how creation works and giving up the idea of right and wrong and your stubbornness and your willfulness to think that, in fact, you must tell someone what to do. You must oppose someone, that if you don't do those things, that you're going to suffer in your life and maybe not get the relationships that you want or not be treated in a way that you want to. You have this universe that's working exclusively for you, sovereignly. You're in control of it. But sometimes you let others take over that control based upon how you feel about them. So what the recommendation was in the recording that we did is that whenever you feel as though you are headed in a direction that is going to create some opposition and you're going to have to oppose someone, argue against them, that you actually take a moment to yourself and decide to choose a different response rather than going into a conflict. We have used the analysis. Robin and Dave had a little situation where someone popped a pill container into the cupboard and left the cap loose. When Dave reached in to grab the container, the cap flipped off and it slipped out of his hand, and all of the pills spilled all over the counter and went under the coffee pot and on the floor and everywhere else. Yeah. Normally, what would happen in their relationship is he would probably turn to Robin and exclaim that she had left the cap off and look what had happened. Yeah. And then she would say, well, you weren't hanging on to it tightly and look what happened. And so there would be a conflict or something that would start to happen in the rightness or the wrongness in which of them had actually caused the problem. In what we are trying to say, and in fact, in that exchange, they did not have that argument that they normally do. They both bent down and began to pick up the tablets and decided just to move on from it and not really, in fact, pin it to anyone. They gave up the idea of worrying about who had done it and just cleaned up the mess, which they had to do anyway. Yeah. And so our point is that this opposition that you move to, this idea and the satisfying feeling that you get when someone else surrenders to you, is what really has to go. That is the thing that's really separating you from the divinity part of yourself. And certainly you will start to recognize, and we would tell you that Dave actually had it happen this morning. He went to take out that bottle of pills, and again, the cap was ajar, but he was looking for it this time, and he was much more careful. And it became apparent that Robin was the one that was leaving the cap loose. Yeah. So the point we're trying to make is he started to look for what could be a problem. He started to actually take a little precaution in the way that he approached that bottle as he took it out of the cupboard, rather than just yanking it out, having it spill all over the floor, and then finding someone to blame because of it. And so what we're telling you is that a lot of you know when you are in a relationship with people that there are certain areas that you're going to touch or poke at, or the cap's going to pop off of, that's going to cause a problem, that's going to upset them and create some disharmony in your exchange. But yet you keep on doing it. You don't seem to really decide to avoid, let's use that term, or take precaution in the way that you approach someone in order not to have those types of exchanges. What you're moving here to is mastery. It is the master of yourself in the understanding that I don't need to be right. I don't need to be confirmed in my experience. I don't need to muscle someone or control them to get what I want out of them. And in fact, when I try to do that, I'm going to get the opposite. If Robin and Dave had gotten into an argument over those pills, she would just become more likely to blame him for other things. And so you'd get into this vicious pushing and pulling cycle that really isn't going to accomplish the goal that you want to, or get to the place that you are really wanting to get to. And so what we are asking humans to do on a regular basis is to try to sniff out or notice when you are headed in a direction where a conflict is going to appear. Say you'd sent someone to the store for something. They said that they were going to pick it up and they come home without it. And normally you would say, well, you don't regard me very highly. You would have remembered to get that. This is what makes me angry about you. You never follow through. You don't do the things that you say you are going to. And therefore, they are waiting for that person to surrender into themselves, that they are this lowly view that they are casting upon them. And what we are saying is there is another view that you can cast upon them that will actually get you the result that you want, that will actually make them start remembering when they are supposed to pick something up for you. Because the reason they're not remembering is not so much about them as it is about you, you see. And so as you would say to them, oh, I can see that you are very busy. Yeah, it is understandable that you have forgotten what it is that I have asked you to pick up. You immediately disarm the person and give them an opportunity to view themselves in alignment as you view them in alignment. And the universe, guess what? It's picking up on you and the signal that you're sending. So what we're asking you to do is really start to look at people how you want them to be, how you want to see them, rather than in the view that is in negativity that you are projecting on them in your view of them.
Yes. Okay. So you mentioned in your podcast that, once, no matter how we feel, the non-physical counterparts of us are moving to that higher vibration, whether it was created from a negative or a positive. We're the ones holding ourselves back by not assisting people on their journeys, or, like you said, disarming them when there's an upset. So could you speak a little bit about that, about what we're missing out on potentially, and why it is so important and crucial for us to recognize that so that we can have what we have created?
Your microism, or the small things in your life, in your exchanges with others, are what are affecting the macroism, or the big things in the world. When a human wants to see peace, when they want to see surrender in people getting along, in wars not continuing, this actually begins at home. It actually begins with people deciding to choose their responses rather than emoting and kicking things out without really being awake or conscious of what it is that they are creating as they do it, you see. And so you have this potential, this ability, and actually there's no reason not to use it other than this willful response that you have within you that somehow you are right and someone else is wrong. This is the only thing that you will need to reckon with, is give that up. Give up that idea. Know that everyone is creating individual and sovereignly, yeah, and that you have this really potent power within you that you can actually choose to remain peaceful in spite of anything that you are encountering in your life from another, and then actually let the universe serve you in bringing to you how you want to feel and the people that make you feel that way. You don't need to be the one that is efforting. You don't need to be opposing someone, even in your close relationships. They will conform to you in your new way of being, in your new view that you are holding of them, or the universe will gently move them out of your experience and replace them with those that will, you see. That's how it will happen. As people start to do this at home, as they start to use this practice on their own, this will become the way of the world. And this is where peace comes from. This is where wars are ceasing to happen. Once people start to realize that they are able to pick and choose what their responses are, and that they choose harmony rather than war.
Okay. So if you are maybe someone who isn't at that level of love or involvement, shall I say, where you can turn the other cheek, I would say maybe it would be a benefit to at least acknowledge what emotions, right, that are being activated within you. Look at least that and say, oh,
it really takes, Heidi, a shift in consciousness. And that's what we're trying to give people today as they listen to this recording. And we hope it is one that they play on a daily basis, and that they remind themselves that it's not about letting someone else off the hook. It's not about making a right out of what you have determined as a wrong. It's not about saying that behavior that is unbecoming is behavior that you like. That's not what it's about. It's about you creating that behavior. It's about you deciding by the response that you emanate what will be brought to you in your experience. experience. And this becomes an education. It becomes a knowing. And so once a human can really understand that they will not have to suffer under relationships that are not fulfilling or satisfying, if they adopt this new way of being, if they actually move to peace and harmony, that will be brought to them through the universal part of them, and that they do not, as a human, need to oppose anything or try to enforce something onto someone or make them different than they are. They will be transformed by love. They will be transformed by the new response that they get from you, or they will gently move out of your experience and someone that is a match to you will enter into it.
Right. But I guess what I was trying to say or maybe ask is catching yourself with what emotions are being evoked within you when you're in conflict with another is a very good, I guess I would say, starting place for people. Because if you are having anger inside of you because of a situation, like say the situation Robin and Dave had where the pills dumped all over the floor and one of them would have gotten angry, just that recognition of, oh, I'm feeling angry now.
Yeah.
I
Well,
have anger within me
yeah.
versus, you know.
Well, what we would really like you to do is to move to a focal point of what do they need? What is it that I can offer that will bring them back into alignment and then also benefit me in my alignment? And so rather than justifying your response, yes, you probably do have anger within you. Yes, there probably are some emotions that are kicking out without your conscious awareness of them. And so your idea of maybe making it consciously known is somewhat of a help. But what
Yeah.
is the biggest help is that you make a decision, that you actually decide that you're going to look what others are needing and give it to them and create alignment so that you get a response from them that actually then creates alignment in you. And so rather than trying to force alignment onto yourself, you actually offer alignment to them, and then they offer something to you that brings you into alignment. That's what actually occurs.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So this is maybe a little off subject, but Bashar, that's who Daryl Anka channels, he asks people often the question you should ask yourself, what do I believe about myself that would allow me to feel this way? Like, what must I believe about myself to allow me to feel this way? And he feels that by bringing that into a conscious pattern in your brain, that it would help you, it helps you to release things that you're holding on to. And I did that the other day on something, and I was a little surprised by what the answer was. And I kept kind of just sitting with it. And then I was thinking, oh no, there must be another step. I must be missing something. Like, what do I do now just because I know this? And I was very surprised to see that some things just shifted away from consciously bringing that belief into the
Well, it
forefront of
should
my
be no
brain.
surprise at you at all, because when you become conscious of something, you are inviting the divinity aspect of yourself into the meeting. Yeah. When you are
Uh-huh.
unconsciousness, you are separated. You are not able to get the feedback or the understanding
Yeah.
that you get in full awakeness or consciousness. It's one of the teachings that we offer to
Yeah.
always be observing oneself in awakeness, not necessarily changing your behavior, but becoming aware of it is the early stages of mastery. It's what we encourage humans to do. So we are in alignment with the practice that he has brought. But what we also want a human to do, rather than just asking themselves what they need to know about themselves, is to really feel that push. And I'm sure many of you have felt it. Robin said she knows she has. She could get into an argument about a silly thing as far as the direction or who said to turn left instead of right, whatever it is, could evolve into trying to get one or the other to surrender that they had made a mistake, that someone had said the wrong thing. Yeah. And then to find out that that wasn't going to happen, and it escalates into something that's rather unpleasant. And so what we would like you to do is to notice that energy that comes up within you in your need to be right, in your need to be confirmed, in your need to have someone surrender what they believed and to adopt what you believe. This is the telling moment or the thing that's really going to bring some data to you that can help you move better in your experience. You're going to immediately recognize your need for control, your need to make others believe as you do or do as you do. And then this is the thing that needs to be surrendered. We have said many times before that there is no right and wrong and that every human being is forming an opinion on their own. They are sovereign. And that includes every area of their life and the way that they think about it. So if you think that you're going to come along and impose your view onto someone, no matter how right you think you are and how wrong you think they are, you are not going to be satisfied in that exchange unless, of course, you get them to give up their sovereignty, of which they will maybe temporarily, and then you will soon be in another argument. It will be something that will be escalating. That energy will continue to grow within that relationship. And you may have won that hand or round of cards, but there will be many more that will be played. You see, if you want these games to stop, if you want to end this cat and mouse thing that you have going on, someone has to be the bigger person and surrender to the idea that it doesn't matter who's right and wrong. What matters is the understanding that you create individually, sovereignly, but how you feel. So anytime that you come up against someone and you start to feel yourself not feeling good in that exchange, it is time for you to move to something that will create harmony and recognize that you are now giving up all of your options to bring into form what you have felt your life as. So everything you have felt is waiting to come into form to you, and that you're actually giving that up over the silly argument of right and wrong that you are now standing in, you see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just going to play a little devil's advocate because I know from your perspective, you think we're probably idiots because we are missing out on all of these wonderful things we've created by not just coming into alignment. But for a human, especially a human that has been in many repeated cycles, it's difficult for them to just move to that point of, oh, I'm just going to offer them what they need.
Yeah.
So ideally, we know that that's the way we all need to go. That's mastery. Completely understand there. But, we don't have everyone in the world that are at that level. So can you give them some?
Doesn't matter. You're creating sovereignly. You're creating for yourself. You don't need to worry about them.
Oh, no, I know, but for the
Let
ones
them
that
worry about
want,
themselves. Yeah.
for the ones that want to move to this, but maybe they think, oh, I just can't do that. First off, what are some steps that they
Well,
could?
you are still clinging to the idea, Heidi, that someone else is going to behave poorly in your experience because they are not spiritually enhanced or headed in that direction, and that just isn't true.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I don't mean the other person.
Off.
I mean the person. Like if you want to use me as an example. So say I am in a situation where I am not able to offer that soothing or whatever. I'm not ready yet for that, in this hypothetical situation. What are some things I could do to get myself prepared or to get myself ready? Because when you get in those situations and you're in the heat of the moment, it's very easy to become unconscious and move and not be able to soothe the other. So what are some ways and tips people could use that are new to this?
Well, one of the things Bashar was bringing to you in that observation was awakeness. He was telling you to be awake of how you feel and to view yourself in it. And that's when you have an opportunity. We've told you many times before that when you are in a conflict, you are to take the other person out of the conflict and go within yourself, because all of the emotions that you are emitting out, that you are thinking are about that person, or that they are responsible and the cause of, are getting returned to you in your experience, and they're actually cutting you off from the good things that you could be receiving for that emanation. And so there takes some intelligence, there takes some self-awareness, there takes some understanding of how you create in your experience, and that's sovereignly. Everyone creates individually. And so all you should care about at every given moment is how you feel. And so justifying how you feel, trying to make another change their behavior to make you feel better, those kinds of things are not going to cultivate the reaction or the life, let's use that term, that you're going to want to get. You have to do that for yourself. You have to recognize that I create sovereignly by the way that I feel, and that the only reason I'm having an unpleasant experience in an exchange at someone I'm in relationship with is because I contain energy that attracts that energy to me. That's why I'm having it. And so I get the awareness. And as you said, I'm no longer an idiot. I understand that what I have held on to inside of myself has produced a result outside of myself, a mirror to me, that I don't like the look of. Why would I try to smash the mirror? Why would I try to get rid of the reflection? I'm still going to be reflecting it. Someone else is going to come along and hold it up in my face again. It's going to happen. That is ungiven. Yeah, that's going to happen. And so you have to get the awareness that you are creating individually by how you feel, and it matters not what someone else does to you in your experience that evokes a feeling within you. It's in you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. We hope that's helpful to anyone that is struggling with this. I know it's a tough one because as humans, we tend to get unconscious a little easy when we're in heated situations. So
Well, in
hopefully
response to that, Heidi, I've been giving this a lot of consideration as Robin, because like everyone else, I have my battles or the things that come up in my
yeah,
life. And isn't it hard to be in conflict? Isn't it hard to be trying to suck something out of someone that they're not willing to offer you? And you really have to make those changes within yourself in order to get that view from someone else that you're wanting to get. And it's about trust. It's about knowing that I can pull myself together in the way that I emanate and the way that I feel, and the universe will take care of me. I will actually get exactly what I am getting, that I want to get in my experience, and I won't doubt that anymore. And I've actually been doing this in some areas, and then to remember that as you get these teachings and you start to embody these understandings, the universe feels you in that. It knows that you want to move into mastery, and it will assist you in being able to maybe control yourself a little bit, or view yourself quickly, and then move to that decision to not maybe lash out, or to offer what is needed to offer to create peace and harmony. And when I would use just that bottle of pills spilling, normally that would cause an argument. That would be something that somebody would have to blame somebody for. And really, what difference does it make? The pills are on the floor. They've got to be picked up. It's not life-changing or altering, but it is life-changing for you in the way that you could be receiving things. So it's just to really understand that a lot of the pettiness that goes on in relationships could be eliminated. And even if that alone, of course, there might be some major things that you feel as though are really difficult for you to let go of. But we're talking about a lot of really simplistic, stupid arguments that just don't need to happen, that are happening, that could be very easily let go of and be very life improving because of it.
so that might be a good starting place for viewers is to try these methods on more trivial disagreements.
Yeah, like
Because
the
that would
socks on the
be,
floor,
yeah,
the dirty towel being dropped behind, or it's not that you're expected to tolerate that type of behavior, but as you pick it up and you recognize how you feel about it, and you very pleasantly say, I know you probably forgot, or I know you're very busy and you left your towel on the floor. I'd be very grateful if you could hang it up, or something along these lines, is a lot different than huffily throwing it in the hamper and saying, I'm picking up after you all the time. This is the way you behave, and I'm sick of it. This is the way
right,
people move in a lot of relationships.
right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And we hope that's helpful to you. We'll see you next time.
Good day, Heidi.